Awesome. All right. I think everybody likes money, right? We all like money. Yes or yes? Go like this. We like money. Okay. I would recommend taking a picture or a screenshot of this slide, by the way. So I would just grab your phone and take a picture, or you could do, a screenshot on your computer of this slide, just so you have this chart. We're just going to do a quick review of the pay program, of how that works, and then we'll get into teaching you how to actually schedule demos and getting into how the app works to be able to schedule presentations. Okay. So the chart there at the top, you're going to see what you learned in the interview of the 1K is your first promotion, 3K, 6K, 10K are your first four promotions up to 30%. But there actually is a section of bonus levels. So once you get to 20,000 or more in sales, you're actually eligible for monthly bonuses. So you'll see our top representatives, guys, they actually make 30% weekly plus a 20% monthly bonus on everything they sell for the month. So our top people on our team that are above 150,000 in sales, they actually make 50% on the incentive or the commission pay, which is pretty cool. Okay. Our top representative on our team last week sold a little over $13,000. So that individual made $6,500. So we have people on our team that are making thousands of dollars per week. We have people that are working part-time that are happy making a couple $100 a week. So we have all different types. You're going to see in the middle there, it talks about the base pay program. There's two parts of the pay program, the base pay and the incentive pay. And I'll review both of those and how they work together. So let's start with the base pay. Our weekly cycle, make sure you have in your notes, is on Tuesday morning through Monday at midnight. Okay, so our weekly pay cycle starts on every Tuesday morning, and it resets and goes until Monday night at midnight. Okay, is how that works. Okay, so everything that you do, guys, in your first weekend, from when you finish training tomorrow at 9 until Monday night at midnight, will be on your first week's paycheck that you're going to get a week from tomorrow. Okay. Our base pay calculation, pretty simple. The number of appointments you do times, the guaranteed base pay. Our qualified appointments are over 30 years of age. They're working full time or retired by choice. We don't do group demos. Make sure you have a note of that in your notes there. We don't do group presentations. Here's why. If we try to do a demo with multiple people at one time, that can be a little confusing because they have different kitchens and have different needs. Okay. So we like to focus on one household at a time. We really like to make sure we meet with the mom at a minimum. Ideally, it's both, but typically the moms in the household or the women in the household typically make the decisions for the household. Okay. If my wife wants something for our house, she gets it. Okay. If I'm interested in something for the house, I usually ask her what color she wants because I don't really want to hear her be upset with the color that I picked, right? For example, we're redoing a house right now. So, today, one of the decisions we made is, where do we want the rain shower? Do we want it here or do we want it 6 inches over, right? I didn't really care, right? So I asked her, what did she want? She had a definite opinion of how she wanted that and where she wanted it. So women are just sometimes a little bit more particular about things, and they tend to shop a little bit more too. So you always, guys, even if the guy is the cook in the household, the dad's the cook in the household, make sure the mom's there because typically the order will be bigger anyway. Okay. We don't do presentations with people when they're like in their car. We do a presentation with somebody, as Madison mentioned, when they're at their computer. Either a laptop or a desktop computer, either of those will suffice. You will have a presentation report that you'll fill out each week. It's really simple. It has a log of all the presentations that you did for the week. And what's cool is your app that's on your phone that Madison's going to help you get set up in a minute. Actually, when you set up your app, it tracks all of your presentations. So it's pretty easy to fill out your presentation report in a week because it logs all of that for you. Okay, so pretty simple. I just got a message from somebody in the chat that was like, hey, well, what if they are like a stay-at-home mom, or they don't work full time, but their husband does, for example, yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, if you have somebody like that in that category, for example. Okay. Some people ask me, hey, my grandma doesn't work, but she's retired. Can I meet with her? The answer to that question is yes. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more, Jennifer, about the right types of customers, the best types of people to meet with here in a minute when we talk about our kind of qualified customers and who we want to focus on first. Okay. Let's now look at how the two pay programs work together. Okay. So the guaranteed base pay is $20 base per appointment. Our appointments take about 45 to 60 minutes on average. 10 appointments, let's say for as an example, let's say a representative does 10 appointments in their first weekend, their guaranteed base pay would be $200. Now, that's a guaranteed base pay. The incentive pay can only be higher. Our representatives receive either or, whichever is greater for the week, either the base pay or the incentive pay. The incentive pay program progresses as you do more appointments and as you make more sales. You're their first level, 0 to 1,000, representative makes 10%. Through 1 to 3, they make 15%. 3 to 6, 20%. 6 to 10, 25. Once you get over 10,000 in sales, we call that dirty 30 because you're making 30%. Now, chat box for me, at most of the jobs that you've had in the past, or maybe a friend of yours, a job that they work, how long does it typically take somebody to hit a pay raise, to go from like one where they started to hit their first pay raise? How long does that typically take at a lot of jobs that you've had, or maybe some of your friends have had? Make sure you send it directly to me. Okay, cool. I'm seeing months, 4 to 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Okay. Our average rep on our team, guys, will hit their first promotion this weekend, but definitely by the end of their first week. Okay. A lot of you will hit your first promotion this weekend. Those of you that don't hit it this weekend will probably hit it your first week on the job. So our pay promotions are set up to be hit pretty quickly. An average rep on their first 10 appointments, they have 6 to 7 sales. Their average order is $300 to $400. And our average rep sells between $1,800 and $2,800 on their first 10 appointments. Our results from our organization are a little higher than the national averages, but just showing you a couple different examples. Okay, so now let's take a look at a representative who does 10 appointments and sells $2,000 in their first 10 appointments. Well, their guaranteed base pay is $200. What would their incentive pay be? Okay. Let's go to Jennifer here. Jennifer, you should be able to unmute on your end. Jennifer, can you unmute? Should be able to. See if you can.
There you go.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay, Jennifer?
Yes.
Jennifer, are you pretty good at math, or do you like to type everything in on your calculator on your phone?
I'd like to type it in, but I mean, that's,
Well, I'll give you easy numbers.
It would be $300. I mean,
well,
yeah.
let's play this out. So 2,000, the rep's brand new. Okay.
Right. They get 10%.
So
right?
their first 1,000, they would make 10%, right?
Right.
And then their next 1,000,
got you.
They would make 15% because they hit a promotion. Does that make sense, Jennifer?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And then Jennifer, if we just add those together, 100 plus 150, that gives us.
So it's 250.
Exactly. And Jennifer, which one's greater, the 200 base or the 250 incentive in this case?
Well, obviously, I guess if you sell anything over 1,000, you're gonna be making
more on the incentive. So Jennifer, don't be surprised if you make a lot more than the base pay, because most people do. Okay. Now, what's cool, Jennifer, is it never goes backwards. It only goes forwards. So let's take, for example, Jennifer, rep hits 30%. Once you hit your 30% promotion, let's say on 10 appointments, in that case, obviously you're a little better at the job. You have a little more experience. Let's say your results go up a little bit. You're at 2,000 to 3,000 in sales. Well, that's $600 to $900 on the incentive for the same amount of work that before, when you were brand new, you're making $250 on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So a lot of people, Jennifer, they might work a little harder when they're new to hit some of those promotions. So then they can work a little bit more of a flexible schedule, or more of a schedule that they're excited about. but they're at a higher promotion level, so they can kind of work less and make more, or make more just on the same amount of work. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Well, I was looking over that stuff, and I mean, actually, I'm really interested in like selling to realtors, but I have to sell 150,000 first. So
Actually,
that's a motivating
not.
fact.
Jennifer, actually not. We had a representative, Susan Hockman. She actually, once you get over 15,000 in sales, Jennifer, you're eligible to interview for some of the higher level roles, like our events
Okay.
team and our CGC. She actually just got approved, and she's to sell to realtors. She's almost at 20,000 in sales. So yeah, once you get to 15,000 in sales, 10,000, you're eligible for things in leadership, like Leadership Academy and that type of deal. Once you get over 15,000 in sales, you're eligible to be able to potentially train for events or interview for our realtor program. So there's some opportunities that open up once you get
Okay,
north
great.
of 10,000.
It's better than
Cool.
150,000. I was like, dang, it's gonna take a long time to get there.
But the
I used to be a real estate
150,000 is
agent.
pretty sweet because you're making 50%, right? So
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Jennifer, thanks for sharing. I know
Thank
that
you.
math was really difficult. It was really difficult. That was pretty easy math. Okay. All right. So to kind of wrap this pay review up a little bit, I wanted to show you guys a couple examples there. I want to give you 2 tips before we jump back to Madison and do a walkthrough of who you want to focus on for your customers and help you brainstorm on that and get the app set up. I would write these 2 bullet points down. Okay, really, really simple. Number 1 is you want to focus on your first, I'm a numbers guy, and I like to think about 6 demos is going to yield me at least 1,000 in sales based on the averages. Okay, 6 demos is going to yield me at least $1,000 in sales based on the averages. So for every 6 demos I do, that's going to yield me at least 1,000. Okay, now it might be higher. Like some of you guys are going to rock it right out of the gates. You're going to do 6 demos and you'll already be at $3,000 or $4,000 in sales. But on average, 6 demos is going to yield at least 1,000 in sales. And then I want you to think about, by the end of training tomorrow, we'll have some time to set up our first appointments today. We'll have some time tomorrow to set up our first appointments. And if you want to get ahead on other people, you're welcome to make some more phone calls and schedule more appointments on your own outside of training, either tonight or tomorrow morning before training starts, to get even more. But I want you to focus on at least, hold up a 10 for me. I want you to focus on at least having your first 10 appointments scheduled by the time you finish up training tomorrow. Okay. Those could be for this weekend. They could be for early next week. So that way we have our first 10 plus appointments, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15, but at least 10 scheduled by the end of training tomorrow. So that way you're ready to rock and roll and hit the ground running. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a brainstorming walkthrough